Welcome back, everyone. This time we're going to be giving the skid steer some love and taking care of all of its problems and giving it all its maintenance that it so desperately needs. This is my most used and I would say most valuable tool. It is extremely handy to have. It does so much for me. It's like my own little personal assistant. If I ever need help with anything, this thing is just so handy for an extra set of hands or just someone who's stronger than me to pick some stuff up. This thing is starting to show its age now. This is a 2012. Yeah, it's a 2012. I bought it in 2019. It currently has 1,500 hours on it, and I bought it with around 1,000 hours on it. So I've put 500 hours onto it in the last 6 years. And when machines kind of get up there and they've been sitting around long enough, they start having some things wrong with them. And then there's just general maintenance that has to happen. So we're going to do, I think, everything that this thing needs in this video. It's probably gonna be a long one because there's a lot of things that needs to happen on this thing. And let me show you what we're gonna do, I guess. So to keep things somewhat organized, I have everything laid out here on the table. So I'm gonna do an oil change, a fuel filter, hydraulic filter, air filter, oil change. This is sort of your normal maintenance stuff. And then for things that are actually broken and need to be replaced or whatever, we got new drive sprockets. And this style is a separate hub from the sprocket. So the one that's on there right now is one piece. These are now a two-piece style. So to change the sprocket, you just unbolt it. You don't have to remove the hub from the drive motor. I have some new rear idlers. I'll show you the ones that are on there now. They're no longer round. So that's cool. The alternator is no longer working in the machine. It's not charging the battery or creating any power while the machine is running. So I bought a used alternator. We're gonna throw that in. Hopefully that fixes that problem. And then we have seals for one of the drive motors. I'll show you that next. So that is this guy. You can see how like wet and damp it is in here. So this one's been seeping. So the seals in that motor are bad. So when we get the sprocket off of here, you can see there's not much life left in the sprockets. We can change those seals and hopefully that's enough. Otherwise I have to get a new motor or have that one rebuilt. You can see the rear idlers are starting to turn into gears. They have like teeth starting to get worn into them, so those are getting swapped. In the engine bay, I have this heat shield which is cracked and it vibrates and it's super loud and annoying, so that's got to get fixed too. The alternator is back there, so that's gonna be fun to get at and get out. Let's see what else we got. There is also a leak somewhere here. I don't know where yet. You can see how wet these lines are, but if there is enough pressure in the system, like if I have something heavy hanging on the arms, you'll start seeing hydraulic fluid dripping down here. So this is kind of where it ends, and this is like a little hose tray that carries all the way up and around, so it kind of looks like it might be coming up there somewhere. So at least I want to find where the leak is. I don't necessarily need to fix it right now, but if it's a hose that needs to be replaced, at least I can identify what hose it is, and maybe I'll get one ordered in this video. Who knows? But I think that's it for this machine. We're also gonna hopefully take a look at the grapple. The grapple is the most abused attachment that I have, and it needs a little bit of loving too. I'm gonna get this thing stripped down pretty much completely right now. We'll give it a good wash because it is absolutely filthy, and then go from there. To get at the drive motors, you have to go underneath the operator platform, so that's gonna come off too. So we're gonna pull the platform, we'll pull the tracks, and then we'll also pull this front cover, which covers the hydraulic pump. Oh. That nut is 1 1/8", and it's the opposite of what you think. So to loosen the track, you tighten the bolt. Okay, there we go. There's that. Now we go up. Pretty gross in there. Yeah. All right, so there's the pump, and there's a bunch of crap down there too, so it'll be good to get this all cleaned out. Oh my God. Okay. All right. That's dirty. See if I can get on it without this swivel. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay, that's one of the pins. Okay. Oh, the switch is still in there. I guess I have to try and get this plate off to disconnect the switch. I'll put this back up on here. Let's try this again. I don't know what's holding this thing on here anymore. Is it just so packed full of crap? I think it's just full of crap. Yep. Okay. All right. Don't want to loose these. Oh, where's that wire go? Oh, the switch is on the back here. Well, how do they expect you to get this off? Oh, right here. Duh. All right, let me unbolt this switch. Okay, these are not studs. There's something on the back I gotta grab onto. Let's take a look. Can't see. Oh, looks like a screwdriver. Maybe a little more cable next time, guys. I don't know how they expect you to hold these. Go down, maybe? Well, if someone didn't have us on a forklift, they could get it that way. Oh, look, a bolt. That probably used to go here. Let me see what I can do with this. Oh, sorry guys. There's that. Grab it now. Okay. So one of these little right angle screwdriver things. There we go. So this is the little switch so that when you're standing on the platform, it enables the hydraulics, or I guess disables them if you step off. That's the operator presence switch. All right, this can come out. Oh, jeez. Now there's this access panel back here. I'm gonna pull off. Wow. There for now. And then down here. Really? You can't feed this back through here? Oh, that's dumb. That's gross. Here's what's in here looks like. Just caked full of crap. That's the drain for the engine oil. And then that's our leaky motor, which we'll have to pull. I'm very annoyed by this. Come on, a rectangle through a circle. Come on. See, the grommet had fallen out too. All right, I'm gonna try and chisel some of the sludge out of here. I kind of wish you could smell this because it's like the grossest oily old mess smell. It just smells like dirt and oil, like old rancid oil. That's reassuring. This is like some kind of archaeological dig. It's like, is that a hose or is that a rock or is that dirt? Who knows? Oof. Okay, this is getting so annoying. Okay, all right. Well, that took longer than getting to this point. Was digging in there for about an hour, so I have more time into cleaning out that pan area there than I have to stripping the whole machine down. Did I just break this? Probably. But anyway, now you can actually see what's in there. This is just one big block of crap before, but now you can actually see the lines. That's the fuel line, and that's the fuel line from the left tank. This is the right tank, and then they join and go up to the engine, and there's your oil drain, and now I can actually see the fittings for the drive motors, and this is the parking brake, which doesn't work, but I don't think we're gonna be looking at that today. It's never worked. It's more of an annoyance than anything. Because if you have the machine running and it's sitting on a hill, it'll start slowly creeping down, which doesn't matter a whole lot, but it is kind of annoying. The parking brake is supposed to have a little pin that pops up from here and catches between the sprocket teeth, and that's how the parking brake works, but I've never had that actually work, so don't care. I think it's bath time. More clean. Crazy how much newer it looks just washing it. There's so much dirt and debris on here. Now you can actually see down in here. Look at that. You actually can see stuff now. What a big difference. So while this is drip drying for a bit before we get into any of the repairs, I'm going to knock out a quick lockout bar for the arms, because I'm sure someone's already left me comments about how unsafe this is. Because right now the only thing holding those arms up is the pressure in the hydraulic lines, and since we're messing with the hydraulics, I definitely want those supported. Right now it's set up so that it'll hit the cage on its way down, but no thanks. So on the telehandler, this one has this lockout bar thing right here. It's stored here, so this comes off and it slips over the chrome area here with the cylinder fully extended, so that if there's any loss of hydraulic pressure, this thing here will hold the cylinder from fully collapsing. When I bought this machine, that lockout bar is missing. It would normally mount under here on these studs here on either side. So that's where it would normally be stored. I'm not gonna make one that actually fits there perfectly and gets stored there perfectly, but I'm gonna make a little lockout bar that just nests on here real quick, and then we can move on from there. Like, give me something to do while it's drying. So on normal ones, you'd see them lined with like some rubber or something. I don't really feel like doing that, so I'm gonna protect the chrome with some rags. And that should be good enough for this. Okay. And these little latch things, just make sure they don't fall off, and that's kind of it. So do we test it? Is that what we do? Probably test it. There we go. How's that? Very nice. Ugh. Okay, so for those of you who always want to know how long things take, we're at 5 hours now. And we haven't done anything yet. Nope. Okay, this one broke. Okay. Gotta buy some new cotter pins. Ugh. Oh my gosh! Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I mean, what is this, 18 inches? 1.5 times 120. That's not enough foot-pounds. The torque spec on this is like 300 something foot-pounds. 330 foot-pounds, I think. Just turning the motor now. Lovely. Okay, I found I have a 1.5 inch socket for some reason. That's a little big. Let's see. Did I do it? Oh, sweet. Nice, okay. So I will get the correct size socket for torquing this thing. We'll see if we can actually get this thing off of here now. And then there's that one off as well. Oh gosh. It looks like whoever put these sprockets on used maybe some anti-seize on there, but I don't know if that worked. Or I'm exerting so much force onto this puller that it's galling the threads on here. So you might have to get a bigger puller for this. And it's, what time is it? Yeah, it's 5:30 already, so that's probably gonna be it for today, really. We'll get some tools and get back at this tomorrow, I guess. All right, good morning. Did a little bit of errands this morning. So we got a couple of white oak logs here. This one's got some metal stain in it. The homeowner is having this tree removed because they're building a house and they're interested in having something made from this stuff. So we're looking at, I hauled it, I'll cut it, I'll dry it, and then whatever they want, we'll end up making something. So that's very cool. Another project on the list. I also stopped out and got a new puller set. I've wanted a puller set like this for a while. Probably almost a decade ago. I was doing my brakes on my old truck and I couldn't pull the rotor off the hub. It had like corroded so much that it like had fused to the hub almost, or like had corroded around the hub and it wouldn't let go. I was up there in the snow pounding on that rotor for hours trying to get it to come off. My buddy Dima brought me a puller just like this, and I was able to get it off with that, but that rotor was so stuck on there, it took a few tries with the rotor breaking during the pulls. So this should work for pulling those sprockets off. You can do different configurations for the sides and the jaws and everything. So it's fairly versatile. You can make it do a lot of different things, which is great. And I also got some bigger sockets so I can actually torque that nut back on when it's time to do that. So I'm gonna get some anchor seal on these because this has been cut down for about a week now, and you can see it's already got a pretty good amount of checking. So I'm gonna take care of that real quick, and then we'll get back to trying to pull these sprockets off. They've been sitting with some penetrating oil all night, so hopefully that helps. This one has a little iron stain in it. Find something interesting in this guy when we open it up. Oh. Oop. Come on. Okay, really? Oh, it's the key stock is all messed up. Okay. Okay, now we can start digging into the seals of this motor. And I mean, I guess you could do two things here. You could probably reseal this in place because these are the bolts we'll remove to pull this flange off and access the seals. Or you can pull the whole motor out and do it on a bench. I don't know which one's the better way to go. I feel like pulling the motor out of here is going to be easier for doing the seal job. You can do it inside on the bench. There's less chance of debris getting into the motor while that's happening. So I'm kind of leaning towards going in that direction. The unfortunate part about this is that it is on the parking brake side, so I'm probably going to have to pull the parking brake. Oh, look at that, it's just loose. Maybe that's why it never worked, because it wasn't actually bolted in. Anyway, that made a big difference. Now I have access to the actual connections on that motor. So I guess I'm going to try and disconnect these hydraulic lines to this motor, and then see if I can snake this whole motor out of here. Okay, I have this set of caps and plugs here. I don't really know what size I'm going to need. I'm going to guess that the first one's going to be the small one. Maybe. I don't really know. There's 3 hoses to the motor. There's a small one here in the back, and then there are these 2 here. So I'm going to start disconnecting these and capping them. And we'll kind of go from there, and then we'll get the motor actually unbolted. Okay, that's one. Oh, come on. Almost there. Okay, I can just barely get at the small one if I pull the cap off of that big one in the front. And this one's got a lot of oil coming out of it. Oop. Don't worry, we'll wash it again. This is too big. There's a lot of oil in here. Now, the fun part. Actually pulling the motor. Clean up some of this. Ugh. Yeah, there's a lot of sludge in here that I forgot. I didn't get with the pressure washer because all these hoses were on the way. Okay, to pull the motor now, it's through bolted, so on the outside there's those 4 bolts, and then on the inside there are 4 mating nuts. So yeah, I'm not even gonna be able to show you that because it's buried in here. There's one of the nuts way back there, and there's 4 of them, so I'm gonna have to somehow snake a socket back around all this crap to get to the 2 back ones. Hold them while unbolting from the front. Ugh. Give it the old reach around. Holy crap. Okay, there's one. That was the easy one. Okay, so I got the first 3 out. I have just that top one left to go. And there is so much like sludge still back in here. And it kind of looks like this big hose here like lands right where that bolt head is supposed to be. I don't think I can even show you this, but look how gross it is back there. I can't even find the bolt head. I'm pretty sure it's back behind that hose, and there's so much sludge in here still. I think I'm just gonna grab the pressure washer and give us a quick cleaning. I gotta take the kids to karate and ballet and stuff anyway tonight, so, or this afternoon. I got like 15 minutes and I gotta leave for the rest of the afternoon, so I'm gonna just hit this with the pressure washer real quick, clean up a little bit, and then when I get back, this will be dry and I can hopefully get that last bolt out and bring that motor into the shop and work on that this evening. Get it? Did I get it? Haha! I got it. Okay. There's all 4 bolts removed. I bet you this motor's heavy. Of course, it doesn't even move. That is still dirty. Holy crap, that's filthy. Oh, I might get a wash before I bring it in. Oh. There it is, a drive motor. Hooray. Okay. That one's spinning. That's nice. Let's see. This one's loose. This one's loose. That one is loose. I think we'll be replacing some hardware. Oh my goodness. Okay, new day. I think yesterday was 2 hours, so what is that? 7 hours total? Just kind of working on whatever when I had a chance. So let's get this the seals replaced in here. I'm using the new sockets that he's got, which are the correct size to actually press these back out. Tap them out, I guess. They're in there pretty good. It's not moving. Well, it's moving on that side. There we go. Okay. So here are the two seals. The outer, whatever you want to call it, dust seal, and then the actual inner seal. So those are out. I'm going to clean this up nicely, and then I'll show you a little bit closer look at the shaft in a second too. And there is the O-ring out here that seals things up. I'm going to reuse this one since I couldn't find a replacement, and this one looks like it's fine still. So I'm going to keep this, set this aside, and clean this up a bit, especially in here where the new seal is going to actually seat. See if I can find my, hey, look at that. It's where it's supposed to be. Let's see if I can find some scissors. Hey, look at that. They're where they're supposed to be. What the heck kind of shop is this? I'm not used to this whole things are where they're supposed to be thing. So before we start taking a look at the shaft here, when we start walking through this whole thing, I want to give some credit where credit's due. The channel, Read the Manual. He has a few videos on doing basically this exact thing with the leaky motor thing, whatever it's called. So all this stuff kind of came from that video, so it's always nice to find a really well put together video that walks you through a whole repair process. He provided the part numbers for everything that I'm going to show you too, so check that video out. And he's got a series of videos on rebuilding rollers and things. I think that those videos are like 5 months old at this point, so I got kind of lucky and they're out there in the world and whatnot. So I'm going to get you a little bit closer look here at the condition of the seal surface on the shaft. So to my not so knowledgeable eye, it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look like it's like super worn or super pitted. The sealing area is basically from here, this shoulder, to these ridges, which they look like they're machined. If I go and look at the other motor, you can see that part that is sticking out of the seal. So I believe that is outside of the seal area, and it's just this area from here to here. So there is some wear on the shaft. You can see there is a little bit. It looks a lot worse on the camera, but I cannot feel really anything. It feels smooth to the touch. Fingernail doesn't really catch on it or anything. Just a little bit right there, but it doesn't really feel like it's that, doesn't feel that bad. That's to lead up to the next thing. This area here can be re-sleeved. So this is a little sleeve kit, and you can slide that over top of the shaft, and that'll provide a new sealing surface for the new seals. I got this just in case this is really bad, but I don't think I'm gonna do this, at least not right now, or in this setup, because this is a more of an adventurous road to go down that I'm not really all that prepared for. So to install this, there's like 3 kind of big things that I'd have to do that I don't really feel like doing. First off, this is too tall. So this needs to be sanded or cut down to be shorter, because if this was pressed on right now, it would extend up past here into the area where the sprocket would go. So this has to be modified. So that's one thing. The other thing is that this thing that comes with it, this little cap thing, this is a tool that allows you to hammer it on or press it on. So this slips over here and allows the force to apply to this flange down here, which is great if you're trying to seal like right at the end of the shaft. In this case, we're trying to seal way down here, so this press tool wouldn't really do anything for me. So I had to make or find a tool that would allow me to press it from way up here. So I went through all my drops of pipe and everything. I don't have anything that can actually slip over the sleeve and contact this flange. So I would have to go and buy something, go to the steel yard and get something that's an hour and a half round trip that I don't feel like doing right now. This is one of those instances where I really wish I had a lathe. It'd be kind of nice to have a lathe because I could just take one of the pieces of pipe that was too thick or whatever, throw on the lathe and make a tool that's the right size to press this thing on. So that's number 2, right? Yes. That's the second thing with it. And then the third thing is I'd have to come up with some sort of conical shaped ramp thing so that the seal as it goes on does not get caught and damaged by the sleeve, because the diameter here is a little bit bigger. So you have to have some little tool or ramp to allow that to kind of just spread and then go down onto the seal. Another thing that I had to make or find. So I'm not going to do this. I have it if I need it, I guess, but it's not that big of a deal. I think if this starts leaking again, I will do that, but I'm going to do all this on the machine. These seals, I got the cheap import seals. I couldn't really find the official reseal kit from Danfoss is who makes this. Like, the part number is out there, but like when you go to look for them, I don't know if like you're buying the right one or if the thing you're ordering is what you actually need, because it's not all that like straightforward and easy looking. And that kit's also like $300 for I think it's just the 2 seals and the O-ring. I think these were like $20 or $30 for both seals. So if this leaks again, I'll just do it right on the machine. It's not that bad. So much of the time so far, I've just been cleaning the machine out rather than actually working on anything. So I'm not super duper worried about having to redo this in the future. And who knows, maybe the other side will start leaking and we gotta do both of them. Maybe the other side's actually worse. We don't know it yet. Who knows? So that's the whole story with this thing, or the backstory with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start reassembling this and pressing these are the new ones. Pressing the new seals into this little flange, and we can get it bolted back on, and that's a whole nother story too. Okay, so the first seal goes with the cup side towards the outside of the machine. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil on here to maybe help it. Okay, that's pretty close. Okay, there's that pressed in there. Flush with the outside, and then the other seal comes in from the inside. And then this one goes the other way with the U-shape facing the inside. And I need something to hit on to just hit the outer race. And in the Read the Manual video, he just used the old seal as a press tool. So that is what I'm gonna do. I found a piece of aluminum. I don't know why I have this. For something. All the way in? Not yet. More. Can't tell, is it all the way in? I don't think so. Okay, I am to the same level as this flange now, so my plate doesn't work anymore. So I gotta find something else. So I've decided is that pressing seals and bearings and things is just finding things that are the right size to work for whatever you're trying to do. So much of this is just this. Let me find the right tool for the job. Okay, that's fully seated. So if you look in here, hopefully you can see that the two seals are touching. You can see the outer seal here, and then the inner seal starts. You can see those beads of grease that they put on there for installation onto the shaft. So they are completely touching now, and that's ready to go on. Okay, now for the story on the replacement bolts. These are metric, so because of, you know, America, very limited selection and supply of metric hardware on the shelf. So normally I don't even bother going into town to pick up anything that's metric. I'll just order it from McMaster. It's here the next day. But yesterday when I pulled this apart, it was a Thursday, and the next delivery date was Monday. So I'm like, I don't really want to wait that long, because I kind of want to keep moving on this. So I went and I'm like, oh, let's see what they have. The only fastener they have is the right size is a button head instead of the hex heads, which I don't think is going to matter in this case. The torque spec on these is only 13 foot-pounds, so I don't think it's going to matter as far as like being able to get a wrench on it and get enough torque on it versus using a hex wrench. So I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, my whole story is that normally I just order. I don't bother even going to try and look for anything hardware-wise unless it's something imperial and super common at the hardware store, because most of the time they don't got it. So the price tag of ordering it from McMaster works out better for me anyway, because I don't have to drive anywhere, and I'm guaranteed to have exactly what I need. There's no like guessing like if they're going to be in stock or whatever. You order it, it shows up the next day, move on with my life. And unfortunately, I guess the downside is you get like 50, no, not 50, sometimes the packs are smaller than that, but you end up with more screws than you need, but I'm working on my collection. Who can guess what I forgot? I'm like trying to figure, why is there so much oil flowing out of this? Yeah, it's not sealed. So hopefully I don't mess up the seals trying to pull this back off again. That's what happens when I tell stories while I'm working. I lose track of what I'm doing. No, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. It's got a little bit of like a suction lock. There. Okay. All right, there we go. That's better. There should be some gap that the screws close. That's compressing the O-ring. Okay. Hooray. It's funny like how much of this work is just getting things to like be out of the machine. This took 20 minutes, including talking to you. So nice. All right, that is all set, so we can go put this back in. And I think what I want to try and get done first today, at least, is to fully reassemble the undercarriage, so that at least this thing is usable and I can get it off the telehandler. And there's fewer parts lying around. So we'll do that. We'll get this back installed, test it, make sure the motor works, get the sprockets reinstalled, get the rollers installed, which is quick, and then I think just put the tracks back on, and then we can move on to some of the other internal stuff. No, really. Can't reach the bolt. Push it in. All right, let me see if I get some help for this. I'm gonna get this motor in here. If you can line up, if you can throw the bolts in the hole.
These 3?
All 4 of them.
There's a bolt on that one.
All right, try it. It's not threaded, you just gotta push it in. Okay, that's good. Another one. Which way has it gotta go? I can't see.
I can't see either.
Look in the hole.
To the house. Towards the house. That's away from the house.
This...
There we go. There you go.
Okay, hang on. Can you hand me those nuts that are on this block right here? There's 3 of them.
These?
Yeah, those. Let's make sure I get these started.
Huh?
Let me get these started.
Maybe start them.
Yeah, hold the top one on this side towards the house. Hold that bolt, okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't get my hands in here. How do they expect you to do this? They don't?
No.
They don't expect you to do anything?
No, I couldn't buy a new one.
Okay, I don't...
You know what I'm saying? I'm holding it right here. I can't.
Okay, take that impact wrench and just lightly spin on that top one. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. You're going the wrong way. You have it undo.
I don't know how to change it.
It's on the side of the machine, on the where your thumb is. Look through where your thumb ends up. There's a little switch. Hang on. Now it's okay. Go to the bottom one. I can't hold it, it's too slippery. I'm gonna try and get this other one started then. Okay, hang on. Okay, go to the other corner, bottom right. Hang on, okay. Top, in a second. Let me just get on here. Let me get this on here. Okay. Okay, get this last nut started. Which one are you doing? Yeah, you got it. Hey, let me push it towards you for a second. Just come to you so I can sneak this. Try that. It's not starting. Hang on. What the hell? Okay, spin it on now. Okay, I think I got it started. Maybe. Oh, come on. This hose is in the way. Okay, trying that. Is it going?
It feels harder now.
Is it going in or is it cross-threaded? No, hang on. Is the bolt all the way in? Am I spinning the bolt right now?
Yeah.
The whole thing's spinning?
Yeah.
Okay, we cross-threaded. Okay, well, I will mess with this for a while and then I'll come get you again. I thought we were cross-threaded, but turns out the threads were a little bit mangled. So cleaned up the threads on both of these. Now this one should go on. You know, like, the way to do this is to like get your head up in there. Fortunately for me, I got a small head, I guess. So you actually can see where you're going with this. There. This one I can't even reach with my hand anyway. So the hold it in the socket trick. It's gonna be the only way to do this, I think. I'm gonna need her to come back, I think. I can't do both of these at the same time. Oh man. What the hell is that? There's a burr there. The parking brake's in the way too. I probably should just taken this off. Shove it in there. No, that's in my way now. Okay, now she's on the phone, so it's just me for now. Let's see if I can do this. They need like a remote control for this. All right, let's see if I can get this nut on here. At least get it started. There's that bolt. Is it starting? Nope. Come here. Hell yeah. Okay. Now torque the other ones. Okay. Ooh, fell that one. Oh. Okay. All right. Wow. Done. Well, it's mounted at least. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the order I did this in. That made sense for all the wrenching and everything. I think I have to get the small one on here first. 'Cause that one I couldn't get a full throw on the wrench, if I remember correctly. Of course. What size is that now? There we go. Yeah, that's right. There's not enough room to actually turn the wrench because the other fitting gets in the way. I need to get some of those the wrenches that are made for this. Yeah, see now I can't actually get another bite to snug it up. I go this way? Is that what I went? I did this through here? I don't know how. Maybe, oh, that's what I did. I took the plugs out. And the caps off, I guess. Or caps, it's not a plug. I can go, there, that's what I did. The caps are on the way. There we go. Oh, come on. Okay, finally got that one on. Oh. Okay. At least I can see what I'm doing for this one. That's kind of nice. Okay. These caps out of here. parking brake actually works. This wasn't installed. If I hit the operator presence button, the ram comes out. So we'll get that in, I guess. All right, let's see if we get this parking brake back in. This grease zerk is shot. So I'll put a new one of those in. Oh, crate, of course. That's full of crap. Let's see if I can clean that out. Another side project. All right. All right, let's see. I'm not really sure how this like stays in here. Like if it's not really attached anywhere, I don't think. There is just the set screw on the outside, so I don't know if that's the only thing that actually holds this in here. Once I don't know, like what I just push it in and just press it in somehow. This is gonna be another one of those, can I get my head in here and see what I'm doing in situations? There we go. Like that. Just keep tapping it in maybe? I don't know. Is it going? Okay, I think that's all it is. You just hammer it in. That set screw is, maybe there's a hair proud right now, so let me see if I can loosen that and back it off. I'm just gonna take this out so I can clean it up. Ugh. All right, I'm a little bit off, and I don't think that grease zerk is gonna actually fit through here. So I guess I will see if I can tap this back through, and we'll install the grease zerk afterwards, maybe. Hopefully I get the alignment correct. Oh yeah, I already damaged this one. Okay. I'm really afraid though, if I don't get this in the right angle, the roll's gonna be off and the grease zerk won't be accessible. It's like how about a straight zerk? Let me do that. Let me try this. I can always change this, I think, from the outside. Let's see here. Like that. How's that angle look? Not that you can see it. That looks pretty good. All right, let me send it. That's good. Oh. Now it's really going. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just that set screw that holds the whole thing in place. All right, let's get started with this now. Ugh. Okay. All right. Torque spec on this is 330 pounds, I think. So this is 3 feet long. If I put my 120 pounds on the very, very end here, that'd be like 360 foot-pounds. If I can get my weight on it. A little more. I'm not gonna buy a torque wrench for this. Or a bigger torque wrench to get to these higher torque ratings. Also, I noticed when I was taking it off, at a certain point, the motor just starts turning. Like now. So it's probably about as tight as it's gonna get without stopping without holding it. But actually stopped right over a hole for the cotter pin, so it's perfect. Okay, so this takes me to one little distraction point. This hole here, it seems like when they manufactured this piece, this backing plate, they made one piece that can go either on the right track or the left track, because this opening here, this cutout, is what that parking brake thing mounts to on the other side. But on this side, it's just open into the cavity. So the reason I had so much stuff in here is because that hole was there and the sprocket just packs dirt behind it and it gets fed into this cavity. So you can see on this side, you know, the parking brake pretty well covers most of that hole. There is a little bit of space here for stuff to get through where the grease zerk goes through, but on this side, they weld this piece of tube on here for the brake to mount in, but on the other side, it's left open. So I don't know if there's supposed to be like a plate or a cap or something that goes over this side to keep debris out, but regardless, I'm gonna put one on there. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm just gonna get a piece of steel that kind of fits in here and it's welded in place. Nope. Good enough. I guess the other thing I could do is I could actually put the bolts in with the machine running and have the parking brake retracted, but you know, there's so many ways to do this. So there's the install procedure for the sprockets. In case you care, we're doing this one, the s800tx, which is this skid steer. There's your part numbers in case you ever want those or need those or whatever. For the bolts, it calls for red thread lock and 49 foot-pounds. There's the bolts. So that's where I got the hub number from, 332 foot-pounds. Okay. Let's spin these on. You guys are in my way again. Okay, that's a sprocket. Hooray. Okay, as I'm coming back around to do the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the oil change, since I shouldn't need to use the machine anymore. I forgot I had tucked this up inside of there and it didn't get pressure washed. Ugh. It's gonna need a third, what bath are we on? We've done 3 baths so far? 4 bath times? Oh. Okay, so that can drain for however long, and then we can come back to that, pull the oil filter. These don't fit. That's cool. That's annoying. That is weird. The flange is, it's like wider on the new one, so it doesn't slip up in between this yoke area. That's weird. I mean, I'll make it fit here with a grinder in a second, but it just seems, that seems weird. The bearings are still good from my rebuild job, so that's a nice plus. So this cutout here in that bottom plate is not big enough for the flange to come up like that. So we're gonna do a little trim. I think we'll just trim this all the way back. It's flush with the weld. And then I'll come over here and just trim that too. This is gonna be annoying. Now with the sprockets here, hopefully I can get in there okay. Okay, while I'm making a mess. Oh, come on. I was hoping I could be able to slip this under there. Oh, well. Okay. Okay, well, that was easy. Okay, I think I'm gonna tidy up a little bit and then might as well put the tracks back on so they're out of the way, and at least that's done. Okay, so before I call it a day here, I'm gonna get the air filter in here and get that taken care of. Come on. Secondary. That looks fine. Okay. Back in there. Okay. That's done. This is done. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for today. Tomorrow I will change the fuel filter. That's gonna be the last thing that makes a mess, because I'm sure I'm gonna spill diesel everywhere, and then I'll have to bleed it. So there's gonna be diesel kind of squirting all in there anyway, so we'll do that. We'll give it a bath, and then I'll probably do the alternator and then start buttoning up that back panel and get the whole operator platform put back together. I don't know. All right, happy Monday. Let's get this fuel filter out of here. I got ahead of myself. I didn't put any clamps on the fuel lines. So that's cool. I made a bigger mess than I had to. Always cool. That's like my go-to thing, I think. Just making big messes for no reason. Good thing I'm gonna wash this whole thing again. Okay, let's bleed the system. And yay. This top screw here is the bleeder for the filter. So I'll open this up, let the air out. And it looks like not much air in there. Okay, so the filter should be full now. And we can bleed the injector rail thing. You can tell I know all the fancy words for this stuff. It's this screw right here, which is a different size, of course. Crank the engine a little bit. Okay. Okay, it lives, so that's good. So I was definitely getting ahead of myself. I installed this track before finishing up that parking brake, so there is there's really no way to get the set screw installed from here easily, and then the grease fitting. I guess there's a good reason why that thing had an angled grease fitting on it, even though it didn't fit through that hole. That's because you can't even get to the grease fitting from the outside with the track installed. So that should probably be a 90-degree fitting on there. So that's okay. We're gonna go backwards real quick, pop the track off. At least the tracks come off pretty easily. If you retract the tension all the way, you just have the machine just floating off the ground, the track pops right off. If you lift it up too high, you're fighting the droop in the bottom of the track, and that makes it a lot harder. So in the many times I've taken these tracks on and off, just having it just a little bit off the ground, just enough to clear the rollers. So these little lugs clear the rollers. That's all you need. And then you're not fighting the actual sag on the bottom of the track for extra length. That was 1 minute, 10 seconds. We'll see if I can even get one of these in here and get it tightened down. Let's see. Yeah, I think the 90 is going to be in the way of the sprocket probably. This one, the 45, is probably maybe, oh, I don't know, let's try the 90. What is that thing? That's 7/16? Is that what it was? Okay, we're at the point in the project where I have too many tools out floating around somewhere. There it is. I should probably do like a cleanup, reset kind of thing. Let's see here. don't think I'm gonna be able to actually get this thing installed while it's in place. Oop. Yeah, I think this is gonna be too close to the, whatever you want to call it, housing thing to even get the grease fitting from the gun attached to this. So we're gonna, I guess I have to go to the 45 and just know that I can't pull the parking brake back through this access hole with that grease zerk installed. Okay, just to give the new set screw, something to actually grab onto a little better, I'm just gonna put a little divot in here with the drill bit. There, now the set screw actually has a little bit of a hole to grab into instead of just relying on the friction from the bottom of the screw. Come on. Ah. Okay. That is a 9.5 inch. Alright, I'm gonna grab my grease gun and we'll actually hit this zerk now while it's completely available and open and accessible. I guess accessible, not available. Words. Now to finagle this thing back in here. Ugh. With the switch has got to get mounted. How is it, like this? Like this. Oh! Let's see, how did I hold this before? Oh yeah, the angle screwdriver, that's what it was. Okay. Might as well do this now. All right. I'll do the tilt cylinder and the attachment plate when we bring the arm back down. Okay, so next, I don't know, either the alternator, which I still haven't quite figured out how I'm supposed to get this out of here without either pulling the muffler or going in from the back. So this is sitting in here, something like this. So this one here is threaded. So the bolt that is holding it up here is coming in from this direction, threaded into the alternator. Down here, it's just a through hole. So the bolt that's holding it on down here, I don't really know what that threads into, or if there's a nut on the other side somewhere. I can't really feel anything. It might be within, you can see the guard back there. It might be within that guard piece. I don't really know. Kind of want to just have a quick look at this leak, because as it's sitting here, this is all hydraulic oil that's draining down already. I have the arms up so it's not sitting on the lockout bar, so there is back pressure in the system from this thing being up in the air, keeping pressure in the system. So we're gonna, I guess, have a look back in here or something, and I don't really know where this is really coming from. I was kind of thinking it might be this, because this is completely like worn through and I can feel the braiding is there, but I don't feel any like leaking there. Maybe we'll pop this panel open and we can look down in there a little bit easier. So there is some pretty heavy moisture oil kind of over there. I can't really tell where this is coming from, at least from here. Let me open this front panel and maybe get a better look that way. Holy crap. I think it is this, because it's just soaked back in here. It looks like it's this. Well, yeah, that or it's the next one. Or this is just getting this one soaked. I can't really tell. I might have to put the loader arms down to actually be able to see what's going on in here. Hopefully you can see how wet this is. Yeah, the sleeve on here, just drenched. It's all the way back in there too. I probably should have had this cavity open when I was cleaning, because it's wow, that's a lot of oil and gunk. I'll put these arms down. We'll take a look. Keys over here. Fuck. Problem is, like, I can't tell what's wet because it's close to what's leaking versus what's actually leaking. It's all of these, whatever we want to call these things, the fabric hose wrap thingies they're all soaked. So I can't really even tell. Yeah, I think this might come out. Kind of looks like there's like a tray. The whole bottom section here is like a tray that comes out. That might be something we can do. I don't know if that'll do anything for me, but maybe it'll help. So I don't see like any heavy leaks. Like it's not dripping. What do you think, Pancake? Like based on how much oil's down there, you would think there'd be some kind of like actual active drip that I could see, but I don't see anything. Well, good morning again. So I did power wash the interior of that cavity last night, and interestingly enough, it's not really leaking today. At least not like it was before, which is odd, at least. But looking up inside of this cavity now, everything is pretty well clean, or it was clean yesterday. And the only place I'm seeing oil is right here, where this kind of sleeve sits on top of that hose there. And to me, it looks like the leak, it's straddling this engine. It looks to me like the leak is maybe from the crimp on this line here, because this is the one that's super wet. The top one here isn't really wet like it is down here, so it's not like this one's leaking onto this one, making it look like this is the one that's leaking. But I'm not exactly sure for 100% at this point. Also, getting in here and like pulling this line out of here seems like a terrible, horrible job. So I'm gonna kick that one down the road. So there are really only two major things on here that are still waiting to be fixed. That leak and then the alternator. And what's kind of funny about this point in the little project here is that both those issues are issues that don't prevent me from using the machine. So I'm fighting this like it's good enough mentality right now of like, yeah, we'll just leave those, we'll kick those down the road until next time. I guess the only other last little thing is gonna be this heat shield piece. So I think I'm gonna fix this real quick, hopefully real quick, and then at least this will be checked off the list, and maybe we'll do the alternator. This leak here is probably the least of my priorities on the grand scheme of fixing things on this machine. And also the shop's a bit of a disaster after all of this, so I think actually not doing anything. I'm going to do a quick cleanup, start putting things away so that I actually have somewhere to walk, and this place isn't just an absolute disaster. I've cleaned up a bit, so I feel a little bit better working in here. We're gonna get this heat shield fixed up next, so it's pretty broken. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gouge out this crack here, and then we'll weld the seam back up, just to kind of help connect things back together, and then we'll cut and fit a plate that goes over all of this. And we'll have to put a new hole here for mounting. So we'll have a big plate covering up all of this and reconnecting everything back together. And it should be just fine. Should be easy. I hope so. Famous last words. Here we go. I'm gonna do this outside. Okay. There's our new heat shield. I don't have any high temp paint, so I'm just gonna leave this like this. I don't really care. Okay, we're gonna see about getting this alternator out of here now. So I got this feed disconnected already. And let's see if I can get this plug out of here. There's that. So there are 2 bolts on here. There's the one up top there, and then there's one down below here. So it's on the other one here. There's that top bolt. The bolt's coming in this way and threads into here. And then this one is a through hole. And I saw a video this morning of someone doing a replacement of this alternator, but on a smaller machine, which is even tighter of a space. It looked even less fun. But the through bolt down here threads into part of this, this fan housing. There's a captured nut on it. So I should be able to pull this out no problem from this side. And then this top bolt, I have to kind of fish around the muffler to get a grip on the head back there, but at least that one has a little more space, and we should be able to fish the alternator down through this space and then put the new one in. Holy crap. Okay, that one's loosened up. Oh! Uh-huh. Oh my God. Oh. Is it out? Yes, there it goes. Okay, there's that bolt. Okay, there's a little shroud pieces back there. There's that captured nut that the that bottom bolt feeds into. And this is the bolt on top that threads into the alternator. Okay. Clearly did not get back in here well enough with the pressure washer because it's filthy. Come here. Oh boy. Well, I think there's a very good chance that the leak back here killed this thing because it is just caked. Absolutely caked. Oh, and I'm caked in it too now. Okay, there's the bracket all cleaned up, and because this is going to be pretty much impossible for me to show anything of value here, this is going to be mounted in here like this. That's how it is back in there. So you have this belt guard thing back in there. There is your captured nut for this long bolt, which goes through the block, through the alternator, and then into that nut. And then there's the B here. And then up top here, between the guard and the alternator is the slotted tensioning slot thing. So this goes in here through that slot and then threads into the alternator that way. And we'll figure out how we're going to put some tension onto the alternator. Actually tension it before tightening down that bolt. But here's what the interior here looks like. There's the through hole for that bolt that goes through, which is the pivot point, and then you have that, that slotted piece up there, which allows you to slide the alternator to the left to put tension on the fan belt. So I'm not going to be able to show you anything of use here because all my body is going to be in the way. So hopefully that all makes sense of what I'm doing that I can't even see myself do. Okay, the belt's sitting in the pulley now. That's one step, I guess. I gotta try and get this back on here. This big old bolt. If I just start it in here. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Whew. Okay. The through bolt's in. I gotta fish that belt guard in back there and try and get this started into this hole here. This bolt started. Oh my gosh, okay. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do this. Get this thing in here aligned and then try and start that bolt in there. Okay, I got it started, so I basically laid it in like that because there's no way to hold it in the right position and start that bolt. So I was able to hold this with one hand while starting to crank on that bolt, and that caught that nut. So now this whole thing can pivot and I can slide up into position and I can run that bolt in through the top, through this fan housing thing, through the adjustment bracket, and into the alternator. And once everything is at least in, then I can start tightening things up and getting tension onto the actual belt. But so far, the hardest part is getting things lined up where you can't see what you're doing. You really can only do it by feel. There's not a lot of room to actually put your body in places that make sense. Right now I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing it all on feel. And hopefully I can get this bolt to go in the hole and start threading. I can't tell where the hole is. Is that it? Is it going? I think I got it. Wow. I got it. Is that in? It's in. Holy crap, I did it. All right. All right, it's, whoo. This might actually happen. Or maybe not. Just keep trying to turn by hand. There's not enough room for the wrench now. There we go. For tensioning, I was going to use a little pry bar and try and pry the alternator over, but I can't get it pried on anything, so I'm just going to push on it as hard as I can as I snug up the last bit of the screw. There. Okay. That should be good. Let me torque this bottom one down a little bit. I had it just snugged up so I could still pivot. Okay. Plug it all back in. If this works. It's one of those things where you put off these things that you think are going to be super difficult or time consuming or you just don't want to do, but in reality they're not that hard. They don't take that long. One of those type of things. And we're ready to start this thing up and we'll see if we got any more voltage. Hopefully this fixes it. How funny would it be if there's like a broken wire somewhere that I can't see? Hilarious. The funniest thing possible. 12.6. All right, a second. Before I go starting anything? Is there anything dumb that I missed? I'll move these nuts, bolts out of the way. Nothing's like down in the fan. The belt's still on. Belt's on. Okay. $13. 13.3. 13.4. All right, we got a working alternator now. Oh man, this is great. This is great. So many things fixed. Okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as I had imagined it to be in my mind. And with that out of the way, that's kind of the last thing on the actual machine that needs to happen. So, or like down here on the machine. So at this point, I can put all the covers back on and reassemble basically everything, and I can decide what I want to do about this situation here. But at least I have a functional machine now with only one problem. One problem, one leak. Everything else is just fine. Might as well finish my custom paint job and decal install by doing this last rear panel thing. Okay, the next thing on the to-do list of things to fix and take a look at is the grapple. As you can see, it's supposed to be a full bypass, so this jaw is supposed to go inside of the big one and pretty much completely closed, so you can grab small diameter stuff and large diameter stuff. But this grapple's seen a lot of abuse, and that is I don't know, like 3 inches bent too far towards the machine. So we're gonna see about fixing that. And the jaw itself has definitely got a little bit of bend to it, like kind of right in from here up. It definitely is bent outwards, but it's also extremely bent to the left because this pin, and probably that pin on down there too. Hopefully you can see it on camera, but this is got a crazy bow in it. So I'm gonna try at least replacing the pins, which are just some bolts, So I gotta get these out of here and get the size on those to get them replaced. And that should help to bring this jaw back into alignment a little bit, and we can see if we can do any more work past that. But the main thing is getting these pins replaced with straight ones to hopefully get that a little closer. The other issue on here is the attachment plate is bent, out quite a bit. What happened there is I had the pin unlocked and it was like completely against the plate. I dropped the attachment onto it and picked it up, and this pin is what drove inside of the dovetail here and forced this out. So I'm going to see if I can get this banged back down so it's not bent up and all goofy anymore. So that's next while we procrastinate on the leak. Here are the new pins, the new bolts, whatever you want to call them. I went back and forth in my mind on whether I wanted to get the same bolts that were in here before or get stronger bolts. These are grade 5, and I was thinking of swapping them to grade 8, but ultimately I decided that the manufacturer probably used these on purpose because they're probably the weak point in the grapple. So if anything's going to bend or break, it's going to be these pins and not the cylinder or the grapple itself. So okay, we're gonna go back with the same strength of bolt as before, and we'll see how long it takes me to overload the grapple and bend these again. Let's see how big a difference that made. A little bit. We're still pretty bent though. Well, it's definitely better. We moved from contacting here to contacting over here, so we got about an inch further to get this jaw to come this way. So I guess I'm not lucky enough to fix this with one easy thing. So I'm gonna pull off this jaw and we'll get a look at it and see if we can get it to be more bent that way. So I'm looking at this for a bit, and here's what I found so far. So with this jaw sitting on the table, it's pretty darn flat. I mean, it's got a little bit of a rock in it, and obviously the tip is twisted a little bit, but there isn't any like significant bow anywhere in here like I thought that there would be. There is maybe just a tiny little bit of a bow up here towards the ears. So there's just a tiny bit right there, and they're kind of, this one's got a little bit less of a bow to it, but these are tied together when the bolt goes in there. So I'm thinking that's probably not going to be it. I started taking a look at the other jaw, and this one's fairly flat as well. I mean, it's got a little bit of of a low spot here, but it's not crazy enough that would indicate that, you know, these jaws wouldn't close anymore. So then I started looking at the actual main body, and I think I found where the problem is. If I put this on here, there is at least 1/8 of an inch in there, and kind of down that way too. And it's the same on both sides, so the mounts over here are twisted or bent kind of this way a little bit. So I think if I just tweak these back, that should be all I really need. I probably the best thing to do, if I could do it, would have put the jaw back in and turn the grapple around, clamp onto something, and use a machine to try and bend the jaw back. But I don't think I could do that in any kind of controlled way. So I'm going to try and come up with a way to hold the body in position while bending the ears back to straight. Okay, so since it's still crashing, I think the only thing I can really do at this point is hold it again and try and tweak this jaw up a bit more until I get it twisted enough and bent enough that it'll actually nest into this jaw. This was pretty straight, but I don't really know. At least through here it's straight. It kind of dropped off a little here. I don't know. So as I'm putting this one on, I thought I would explain this number down here, this 200. The concept with this was supposed to be, that's how many slabs this thing has snatched off the sawmill. When we designed this, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, the number was like, it was over 500. So the idea was you'd have the base number, and then every so often you add some more on here, like a tally. So I got a bunch of like 25s. So every so often you put another decal on here for 25 more slabs. But just the base number, it would have filled this whole thing up. So this 200 is supposed to be replaced with like a 500 or something for a base. And then I could put my 25s on, which would be like every 2 logs basically. Haven't gotten around to that. So we're just gonna put it on like this, and then at some point I can pull this 200 out of here, replace it with a 500, and then start adding the 25s for the tally. The sawmill has a similar thing. I got a bunch of numbers to put up there to increase that tally so it's current. But that was kind of the fun idea with this, is to have a running tally of all the work that these things have done. Oop, there you go. So this custom vinyl decal kit thing project for the skid steer is finally done, sort of. 2 years later, or 3 years later. I don't remember when it was. I don't think I had the barn yet. So if you haven't noticed yet, it's been about a month now since I did everything else in here. So the only thing left is this leak. And at this point, I've been using the machine for the last month, and it really hasn't been as aggressive of a leak as it was before. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I have a rag in there that can soak up any oil or anything that gets in there, so that we don't have it drain down to the alternator again. And then I've got plenty of other things to work on, so we'll probably bring it back and do something with this. I'm pretty confident that it is that bottom hose that is braided through that is kind of the issue. So when I pull them out of there, that line is the case drain for the auxiliary hydraulics, which I don't have any attachments that use that. So in theory, if that's the problem, I think it works like this. They could just cap that and not use it, not worry about it, and not have to worry about getting another line made, because I don't need that, assuming that is a thing that works. Otherwise, we'll go through and we'll change those whatever lines in there. It's just gonna be a lot of work to get them all out, to get to the bottom of what's going on in there. And I don't really feel like doing that right now. This video is already 2.5 hours long. So that is gonna do it for this one. Make sure to thank your mechanics. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the skid steer or anything back in the shop, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. I'm not a mechanic, so happy woodworking.